I'm Lewis, also known as Scaffles.
I'm Michael.
Well, I'm Ed.
I'm a software engineer and hobby game dev. I've been doing software engineering for about 5 or 6 years now, currently working in cloud and the AWS stack, and now I'm doing game jams and games for fun.
Well, I'm a developer, but I mostly focus on web services. I do work for basically a private university.
I write software for CMMs, which are basically great, big, super accurate calipers with tiny 3D probes on the end of a arm that can move in 3 dimensions, and it touches something, goes beep, and takes a very accurate measurement.
From the coding perspective, I just work with web services, APIs, REST, MVC. Main programming language is C#.
I know C++, that's what I'm bringing. I don't know if we'll use C++, we probably won't, but it's always good to know C++.
We use monogame primarily, but I believe we're doing Godot in this jam, which is going to be awesome to try out.
I've done a couple game jams before, both with you actually, I think. Yeah, that's about it. Couple game jams. Oh, and that the VR game I made back in uni.
When it comes to game development, I've never done it, have no experience whatsoever. So it's going to be a great opportunity to actually expose myself to some new technologies that I've never seen before.
We're doomed. That's the vibe.
Mixed feelings. I want to be useful, but at the same time, given my non-existent experience, I kind of feel like the only thing I will be contributing will be making tea and bringing biscuits for everyone.
It's exciting, isn't it? Like, I'm really kind of happy to get in and see what we make.
So where's the theme for this one?
We'll watch the video on that soon.
Only soon. Oh, well.
Well, let's get into let's set up first.
Okay,
So-
I've got Godot.
So you've got Godot. Which version do you have?
Whichever one is currently available on Steam.
Same.
So 3.5.1. Yeah, you can see it at the top right. I didn't even know it was on Steam.
Yeah, stable official.
Cool.
So how far forward is that? How behind am I?
No, that's right.
Okay.
So there is a 4, but it's in beta.
Yeah, I've got Blender as well.
Okay, cool.
So what are we using as our baseline, or are we just starting from complete scratch?
So I'd like us to go through the 2D tutorial. So when I last did Godot, I did like a 2D
I
tutorial,
think I've read through it. Are we?
and then basically I used that as a starting point. What is going on with the camera over there? It's very dark. I think it's probably because
It's because my screen's shining right.
your screen is shining right there. I can turn balancing off,
Look at that.
although it's still...
I won't be able to see my screen then. Too bright.
It's alright, because what I realised is that camera is primarily set up to view Michael.
Mm-hmm.
However, Michael is hiding perfectly underneath your really tall...
You're welcome.
Blame Ed for that.
Yeah, I'm very.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we can move the desktop underneath the table or something.
I have no opposition to that.
Let's give that a go.
Okay, then I'll squeeze myself in. That's it.
Right, so are we basically saying that we are set up for now?
Yes, we are set up for now. I'll get the video...
Maximize.
So the theme is roads, and the very first thing that came to my mind was some sort of a platformer taking place under the ground.
The first thing I imagine is a tree. That's like obvious inspiration right there. What else could you do when it comes to routes? You could be attached to something, so gameplay wise, maybe you could have an attachment to the floor or wall.
Now, actually, I've already got a couple of ideas for it I was thinking of downstairs. I assume you're nodding along. You want me to tell them to you? Yes. So, one, I don't think it is workable, but the idea popped into my head. An RTS where you start all the way back in the Neolithic era. So you're right at the roots of human development.
You could have it just more of an aesthetic thing. So you could have roots in hair, in I suppose there's no roots to eyes. I'm just being dumb, aren't I?
And then the other one was stellar formation simulation, so simulating the formation of stars and stuff. And I already know the particle system we're supposed to use for that, which is smooth particle hydrodynamics.
Yeah, but that's at the moment what I've got.
Or
Sorry, you just say your
or
ideas. I'm not
a
gonna say yours.
strategy, RTS, I suppose we do turn-based strategy as well. Set in the Neolithic era.
So Heroes of Might and Magic.
I don't think so. I think Heroes of Might and Magic is well.
No, the type of gameplay.
Oh, I see what you mean. The gameplay's rather academic, just set it in the Neolithic era. Cavemen. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Right, Ed, shall I write caveman on the board?
Yeah, go on. As imprecise and potentially racist as it may be in these sensitive times.
Alright, we've got one idea of caveman.
Cave person.
Cave
Cave
people. Cave people. Your idea is
Some sort of platformer.
platform.
But what would the platform involve?
Platform.
Cavemen.
You play as a caveman, and the platforms are the roots.
That's really not a bad idea.
I like how we have the theme, roots. And usually, the first position would be, like, trees, flowers. No, on our whiteboard, it's cavemen.
Caveman. That is Ed's suggestion.
Roots are spreading, right? So you have a single point and it just keeps spreading.
Spreading, that's a good.
Something that starts from a single point and just expands exponentially.
So do you think the player should be spreading, or do you think it should be something in the world that's spreading?
Either. Also, roots. A lot of medicines were created through roots.
Medicine. I like.
So something to do with medicine.
Germs and roots and whatnot. How about starting as a single-celled life form and evolving?
That's
Yeah, it is thingamabob. Sid Meier's What's a Merit. I've already forgotten the name.
No, I'm thinking of something else. Oh,
Spore.
spore.
Yeah, Sid Meier's Spore. It was Sid Meier.
That is just spore, isn't it?
Yeah. Just 2D Spore.
2D spore.
Yeah.
How are we gonna make that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I've got an idea that's in my head. Do you ever play the game Motherload?
No.
Yeah.
It's like a game where you I know there's other games that are like it, but it's a game you dig down and you just got to collect as many resources and you've got like a timer.
Sounds an awful lot like Terraria.
It's a bit like Terraria, but without the adventure. It's more about just mine down, and it's like a smaller world.
Oh, I see.
I've just got this vision of like a tree and seeing roots go down. And
you're the tree.
No.
No, that's what. No. I'd say we do that. You be the tree.
You're a tree.
Be the tree
I've
and
already
get your
been.
roots as deep as you can. And then you can have like different layers in the ground. They're the harder stuff, and you have to level up to break through.
So rather than getting resources from the ground, you're basically looking for like a nutrients or...
If you will, yeah.
Okay, so you're a tree and you control the roots and they're digging down
Yeah.
and you're looking for nutrients. And just try and work out if that's going to be particularly thrilling or if we could include cavemen in there somehow. Because I always like to think, because I like the idea of the medicine that you suggested. So like maybe someone's sick, you got to get medicine. Let's do the story. The quest is I'm looking for a root for some medicine. So there's that, or the growing roots idea, which I'm finding harder to connect with.
Obviously, I like my idea.
I also struggle to connect to that idea.
Okay.
Ants.
Ants.
Oh.
Ants.
Oh. I like this.
Dryads. Pitch idea.
Yeah.
A magical forest.
Yep.
Full of dryads. Cavemen, they require wood, so they start chopping trees, potentially causing a bit of fire here and there. Some of the magical creatures became injured, and a dryad sets on a quest.
Oh, so we're the dryad trying to stop the cavemen now.
Yes.
Oh, okay then.
Okay. Okay. That is a cool idea. I'm gonna write that down.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back.
So we've just discussed all the potential ideas for the video game.
So I think we're making a Metroidvania game where you play a dryad in a forest or a tree.
We are creating a sort of a hybrid between an RPG and a platformer game, where the main character is going to be a dryad.
Somewhat mashed 2D platformer, basically.
The dryad is going to be progressing through the levels, because the dryad is quite a new character.
Trying to save the forest through the use of powers, namely the ability to put out fires and cause other plant life to grow.
She will go through various different shrines to make her powers grow, and then she's going to use those powers to help her progress through the game.
The idea behind that is we'd create a level that slowly allows you to unlock the different shrines and the different powers. Maybe you have to jump to a certain area, but you can't jump at the start, so you've got to find ways to get the jump.
We currently have 5 ideas for the powers that the dryad could use. One of them is to summon like a little rainy cloud to snuff out the fires. Another one would be to nurture and make the plants grow.
So I imagine that if you're in a huge giant sequoia or like an avatar style tree, and you're just a little wee dryad, and then you'll end up having to grow things. Obviously you can't grow the main tree because it's so big, but you may be able to grow a small mushroom there or a small bit of moss there.
And the end goal is going to be for her to reach the village of the cavemen, where she's going to try to negotiate peace with them. That's not going to work, so she'll get annoyed and she will unleash her powers, but not in a harmful way, just to intimidate the cavemen.
Bit of an odd ending, really, but it's what we've gone for.
In my mind, I'm just following orders. You're the creative genius here.
My suggestion is we go through your first 2D game tutorial, just to pick up the basics of Godot. I am going to post in the channel, and we can just go through it together. I mean, I did it a while ago, so hopefully it'll all come back to me when we're going through it. But when I first picked up Godot, I kind of looked at the UI, I tried to go through the different examples, and I just kind of panicked.
Also, one of my friends said that she will follow you on YouTube if you follow her and her friend.
Nice.
Okay.
And Ed's playing around with the tile map, so I don't know if you want to do the tutorial with us. He's not listening, is he?
I got part of it.
You're happy with the tile map, or do you want to do the tutorial with us?
I'm right now happy with it. What I want to do is make sure I've got a collision set up on the tile map, then I'm just going to try
Can you
creating and playing. Yeah.
Oh,
It's close right there. Then I'm going to try creating a player character and just dropping them there and see if
So
they
is that just a square collider right now?
Yeah, it's a square collider on an angle, and I don't want it to do that, and I'm not entirely sure how to get it to disappear.
I see,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Michael,
Yes?
you know how you're saying, does it collide? Ed's looking up how to do collisions on the tile map. Well, that's awesome. Right, step-by-step tutorial to do 2D gaming Godot. Woo! Yeah!
Up we go!
I'm gonna put that in,
Very nice.
very nice. Right.
Me like. Very much. It's moving!
Alright.
Boys, I got a sprite that's actually moving.
Oh, nice.
Lewis, speaking of moving, a little bit hard to see, but it dropped.
So did you take what was from the demo and put it into here?
Well, I followed along with what it was doing, so I had made it a rigid body 2D and that did it.
And
What you were saying, Lewis? Not Lewis?
At this
I'm
rate,
Lewis and he's not Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
That's it.
Lewis, not Lewis.
Oh,
At
right.
this rate, by the time we are done with this tutorial, it will create the game for us.
That was the plan the whole time.
I knew it.
I actually don't know if what I've got here is of any use.
I want to see what Ed got.
Absolutely go. Eddie.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Right now, left and right, either with A and D or the arrows.
Is that meant to be like a low gravity?
I think so, yeah.
Is there gravity?
A bit, but not much.
Can you just, if really want to see it go down there. Yes! Yes!
It's just gonna fall. Oh no, it landed on something. I cannot move to the side
There's
anymore.
just nothing else there to see. You are still falling,
So
and you are still moving side to side. It's
It's
just
just
a
grey.
grey
You
background.
can't tell the difference.
I think I have ironically just hit the wall and have stated explicitly that. Right.
It is midnight.
Yes.
You
So
stay here. Do you want me to get the bed
I
ready?
put it on. Can I commit what I've got?
Absolutely. I can miss it. Yeah, let's get something in there. Like, all these projects have been with me.
Yeah. Thanks.
You never got around to that Space Press stuff, did we?
No, we didn't.
I was doing the tower defense game.
Let's see, shut down. Oh, we have the moment.
I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I wanna be someone. I wanna be great. I'm gonna be someone. It's never too late.
Last night, myself and Michael, we ended up doing the first 2D game tutorial. That came out alright. I kind of got a bit bored because I already knew some of it. But Michael, yeah, he had a few challenges, but he got through it, which is cool. I've run into quite a few issues which probably for somebody that used this engine before were kind of small, and they would probably take about like a couple of minutes to fix them. For me it was quite a while, but in the end I got there. I finished the tutorial and then I started coming up with some small tweaks, expanding on this tutorial, basically converting it into my own game. And yeah, I got so into it that I actually sort of forgot about the actual game jam. So I started doing some concept art for the game, so I chose a colour palette and started to draw a tree, some grass, sky, sort of basic things like that.
Trying to figure a bit of Godot out, collisions and whatnot. Getting comfortable with the dev environment, really.
Show me what you got.
Trying to read this. What I got ain't much. But move from side to side.
Also this.
And we can't jump because we don't know if we're in contact with ground or not. These are the collision events. These fire, and we can get the tile map that we've collided with, but don't know where on the tile map we are. So we don't know if we're touching the floor or a wall.
I don't know if I pushed my change that I did yesterday.
I tried to pull and I didn't get anything.
Okay, I guess I didn't put it. I did like some concept art for the tree in the ground. And
Well, that's quite nice.
thank you.
What
Just-
I'm trying to do is work out collision with the tile map.
Okay.
So we know when we're touching it and can jump. And it turns out it's really fucking hard.
Can we just steal it from the example project? So that's got a tile set up and it's got a kinematic body. I'd probably say we could just. Now we're kind of like familiar with the basics of Godot. We could just take that project, just go boom.
I'd prefer to build it from the ground up, but I will have a look at it where the map was gone.
I would prefer we didn't build it from the ground up.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just a jam.
That still feels like it's cheating a bit too much.
What have you been up to, Michael?
What have I been up to? I've been just going through the crash course on 2D Godot game engine. I'm developing 2D versions of games. Managed to get the basic game setup, and right now I'm just experimenting, trying to figure out some new functionality, and just learning new things. Yay!
Okay.
Do you want to see what I've got so far?
Absolutely.
It's not much, but I did.
Ooh.
Sharp. Dodge the creeps. You got a background going on?
Yep.
It's an underwater background there as well.
Yeah, changing the backgrounds.
Nice.
And then if you die, the creeps disappear. Your score gets passed to the message.
It's awesome. First game you've made then?
Yep.
Feel good? Or annoying?
It feels satisfying, but I still struggle to grasp certain concepts of it. The issue that we've been dealing with yesterday, it resulted in such a bizarre behavior.
I was too tired to understand that yesterday, so what actually resolved it?
So I've deleted the HUD scene and the script along with it. But then every time when I ran it, it would auto-generate a new file which would appear here. But that would be some sort of temporary file that will always appear only in this section. So in the end, what I did was I went to the main scene and I've completely detached the script and then reattached it. I did the whole HUD again from scratch. Eventually I got it working. I think I had a few other minor issues, but that was just me.
Nice. It's cool.
I mean, the worst case scenario what we could do for the game jam is change the background to a forest, make caveman sprites, and this is going to be a dryad sprite.
That is the worst case, and it's probably what we'll end up doing.
So right now I'm the level designer, and I'm currently trying to figure out how to design all the levels that we're gonna do.
I'm a coder, of course.
And what are you gonna be coding?
Whatever anyone wants me to code.
How do I feel about my role though? Pretty damn good. I mean, it's nice to take a step back, step away from programming and try something new. I'm currently starting to do animations. I'm a little bit worried it's going to take a long time to do all the different animations. But if I had to start with a run and an idle, I think that's manageable.
I think I can figure it out. It's more a question of how fast I figure it out.
So I'm actually really looking forward into putting some of that creativity that I have on paper and then converting it into the actual level inside Godot. But so far so good. Everyone seems to have a rough idea of what they're doing, and I think the plan is going to work out quite nicely. So it's exciting, yeah. Yeah, exciting. Also scary at the same time. We also had a surprise guest today. One of my friends came along to help us with the whole project. We had Alex come round, and then I did some sound design with him. He was doing all the sound, so that was quite
funny, to say at least. We've decided to go with the sounds our mouth makes and of the objects in the room. Also, we came up with a task for you, since you're a person that has no shame. What?
That's what Michael says.
It's not only me. He said it himself.
Did I? Is this stream?
No, it's not stream. It's just gonna be like a video, a long form video.
Okay. Where's my game? How many hours of gameplay is there?
Well, Michael's the level designer, so he's really in charge of that.
Michael's level designer.
Yeah, I'm looking for inspiration right now. But like I told you, I was doing a crash course in video games.
You have to use a filthy network program.
Also, you're in a minority. You have 3 web developers here.
You're the only C++ guy here.
Really? None of you know C++?
I know it from uni.
Yeah, from uni. But no one cares. I mean, C++ is a dead language. It's for old people.
Bullshit, it's not dead. I'll grant that it's for old people.
You, like I mentioned, since you have no
what's
shame,
my task?
I'm just waiting for our leader to, take a break to actually introduce you to your task. 'Cause I just gave you the background.
Thing is, we don't know what sounds we need.
Go over the powers that we have so Alex actually knows what powers we've agreed on.
So we've got the idea of dousing the fire. Some areas you won't be able to jump to, so we'll do like a big power-up jump. We want to do like I think it's going to be like a ladder. So there'll be like a little plant. You'll be able to magically make it grow, and then you climb up the plant like it's a little ladder. A whip that's like a grab across or a dash across a boundary. And we've got this idea of at the end you'll like become basically Hulk and like throw a rock out of the way and get to the village that Michael was going about.
So how can we get Alex set up so we can start recording the sounds?
So I'm starting to come up with a list of sounds we can do. What do you think of these? So I suppose if you have an idea of what something could sound like, we'll just see if we can record it. I mean, I've got a microphone there that's currently recording, so we can just go over to it and like.
This power-up thing, is that like a generic sound for when you get the
so
thing from the shrine?
Yeah, so you'll go to a shrine, and then we need like you've got the power-up sound.
Yeah. I just think if there's a better sound than going.
There's no better sound. That is the ideal sound. That's peak sounds like.
I've got some ideas for everything else though, so.
Awesome.
Oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face to make you go take it back.
Alright, I think I'm gonna head off, guys. Not going. So I can get home for dinner time. Fair enough.
You're ditching us.
Yes. Well, good luck, everybody.
Thank you for helping us with the sounds. That'd be great.
Next time when you come over, we'll have like a proper fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the proper fun, just a bit more engaging with you.
Yeah, this is an awkward thing to come into. Like,
Yeah.
the 3 guys on the computer just like doing stuff.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, nice to meet you, Lewis.
Nice meeting you.
And Ed.
I already met Ed before.
And Ed.
We'll see you around.
Yeah, see you, man.
How do you think today's been going?
Less successful than I had hoped, but we have made progress. We may be at the point of breaking through. Let us hope.
So what have you been doing today, and why is it less successful than you?
Mostly just trying to get colliders to work with each other. They things didn't want to fire off, IDs were just impossible to get a hold of. Really, it was just fiddling with the esoteric elements of Godot.
So my task was to basically design the entire level for our game. So I took the old school approach of pen and paper. So I started drawing out the ideas. The initial first level, let's call it, didn't really go as planned, so I scrapped it and started again.
So far, my biggest challenge has been creating an idle animation. I'm not that used to doing animation, and I think it's trickier because I was using Paint.net as opposed to something like Asebright, where you can see the animation happening in the program itself, whereas I had to export it to Godot and set up how to do an animation in Godot just to see what the animation looks like.
Part of the problem was because I'm a C++ programmer, I'm very used to trying to aim for compile time correctness and making sure things will work at compile time and not allowing any room for runtime bugs to flare up. So I was trying to do that enum thing, because that would have mean there's no chance of me misspelling things or getting a casing error. It will just work.
Like I've mentioned before, I do have quite a lot of ideas, but suddenly when I actually had to create the level, all my ideas just vanished. I found it so difficult to come up with something, so I started looking for some inspirations. I think I was looking at the map of Hollow Knight. Like, there are no similarities at all. I just kept on staring at the map, waiting for some sort of inspiration, some of the ideas to come into my mind. And eventually it did. I sort of just started drawing, and like I said, it started to fit right in.
GD script I don't like, because it's not statically typed. It's trying to be a bit like Python, come JavaScript, really. Godot itself, I think, is quite good, though. It does keep falling over, but it's open source. It can get better.
What state is the game that you've got going in? Is it enough that we could get OBS going and just have a look?
Sorry. Calm. OBS is going. Yes, we can have a look, but it's barely advanced at all. I keep trying to stress that. I'm not. Calm, Edward, calm. I feel like I'm letting you down. That's
No,
the core.
you're not letting us down. Let's just do a demo. See what we've got going. So this is just the basic physics-based platformer with
The enemy's taken out.
the enemy's taken out.
Yeah, and in principle, those are the shrines, the placeholders for shrines, but they don't do anything.
Do we have the towers, or is that not enabled yet?
We have half, sort of. So we've got the high jump if it turns on, and we have the remove fire, which it just removes the fire block. It would do if it were turned on.
It was turned on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But the other ones, no. Sorry, man.
It's good. No, it's in a great state. So
You're doing well, buddy. No need to stress out.
There is a very much need to stress out. I won't get fast enough if I don't stress out.
fine.
I kind of feel like out of us three, I'm like the stone of coding, which means like, just let it flow, don't stress out about anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I
You're
used to be like,
probably right, and you probably have a correct approach.
Okay. Oh, can I ask you to take control of the phone and the camera?
Yep.
And just walk us through your level. I was already recording the capacity.
yeah, I just paused it.
Okay.
So the start of a level would be next to the tree. Obviously, it will be a bit bigger. And from there, a player would have two routes. They could either go left or right. However, if they go left, they'll quickly notice that they can't really do much because there's going to be just a massive hole. They won't be able to hop on this platform or basically grapple onto the other side. So they will be forced to go right. So that's pretty much it for it.
Alright, so the art that I've been looking at doing here. So we've got the main tree. Thank you.
We've got the main tree, which is going to be where you start. I think I might have to do the top of the tree too. You can see I've got some background clouds and some background sky. I think that's just going to give us like a nice parallax effect. Hopefully we can do that in the engine. The initial character is here. I think I'm going to transform him to be a caveman for the final part of the game. We've got the main character here, the Dryad, who I think is looking much nicer. We've got a shrine. Might do different colours for the different shrines, but that might just be a bit of a stretch goal. So we'll start off with this one version of the shrine. Go on. We've got the flower that you can grow, and the rock that you can grapple onto, big old fire you can't get past. So hopefully we can sort of adapt these and get them going into a tile set. Also we've got some underground stuff, so some roots, some darkness, I've done some rocks. I'm not too sure about the rocks. I've got one rock next to a tree over here, which I think looks quite nice, so I think that'll be good. Floating platform, so I think there's going to be a lot of them in the game. If I can do a nice tile set for them, then we can just have it work out quite nicely. And then the way of getting inside of the tree, so it's just a tree facade with just getting darker and darker. And when we've got actual objects inside the tree, I think it'll feel quite, it should feel like one big world. I'm pretty happy with how this is coming along for now. I think if we can get that mixed with your level, it'd be pretty cool. It should look pretty nice.
Yes, at the moment my biggest worry is going to be the scale of everything. I'm still not sure how high the Dryad will be capable of jumping. I'm not sure what length the platform should be. Like on the paper it looks nice, and to be fair, given the approach we're going with, it will be quite easy adjustable. But it's about getting the scale right.
It does feel like we've got a lot to do, and we've got less than 24 hours, which is a bit scary. But I mean, I think we've got to remember there are 3 of us, and at this point we're getting into the swing of it. We've got pretty much all of this evening to do it. We've got the majority of tomorrow. You know, depending on how early we get up, you know, we might be able to get somewhere with it.
I want to get the other powers working. I want to start building a level that looks like what Michael has mapped out. Get the animations in for the new character. Start playtesting some things. Add nice effects for the powers.
I will start converting the levels that I've got on paper into Godot, so we can actually have my designs there ready for basically testing.
As soon as that level starts coming together, I think we'll get like a significant progress. I'm hoping when that's happening, I can continue working on animations and just the extra bits of art we need at the end of the game.
I'm looking forward to seeing how all our contributions start adding up. So obviously Ed was working on more the coding aspect of this game jam, while Lewis was focusing on the art, Alex was doing some sound, and I'm going to be doing the whole level design, so it will be interesting to see how it all plays together.
There was a bit earlier today where I thought, oh, I don't think we're going to get this done, but I think at the moment I'm quietly confident we can actually achieve it, and I'm hoping the guys think that too.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want.
All the smart creation that I'm doing, that could look quite nice if it was from the beginning and do it as a time lapse.
We'll see what it's like, because I don't know how exactly all this is going to go together. What have you been working on since our last video diary?
The rope and the flower. But I've had better luck with the rope. That actually works, sort of, after a fashion.
So yesterday night I managed to complete the whole layout of the game without any static platforms or moving platforms or any of the extra features such as the fire, the shrubbery for the grappling hook or whatever it's gonna be in the end.
Michael did a really good job of making like the basic layout level last night, which I was really kind of excited by. I think what we actually kind of need is to get the powers and the abilities and all the interactable stuff into the level.
So after finishing the designing of the level, I did a bit of a pair programming with Ed. I feel like I didn't contribute as much as I could have, but I think it was more about the fact that it was quite late. People were already tired, a bit stressed. I mean, the deadline's pretty much around the corner and we are still miles away.
So every single time I try to do something, I keep coming up against hurdles and barriers and it takes longer to overcome them.
I don't know where Ed and Michael are with that, whether they've managed to program it. I've kind of deliberately not been doing much programming this weekend and focusing on the art, and I'm really happy with where the art's going. And I guess we'll just see if those guys are ready and if we can get it done.
We're doomed. We're totally doomed. Oh, we're not doomed. I'm not entirely sure we are going to make it, to be perfectly honest.
Mike,
Yeah,
come look at this.
no secundo.
I've managed to get a sort of rope. It's really screwed up. This is really janky. I'm just gonna leave this. I still need to re-add the physics stuff that drags us into water. It seemed to be there earlier and then it disappeared again. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on that front.
Can we add a limit for the rope?
Yeah, sure.
So I think the limit should be 5 squares,
What's that in units?
200.
200 pixels.
Okay. So after 200 pixels it breaks? I thought the point was to be able to reach across areas we couldn't do with the super jump.
Yes, I think we're going to adjust the super jump.
Yeah.
It's more because the super jump should be more about verticality, whereas this grab is more about horizontally.
Okay. So super jump should almost restrict you, slow you down in midair.
Well, if you do a jump and you do a super jump, how far horizontally can you move?
So on super jump.
Mm-hmm.
So see, so. Damn it, I can't get up there.
And bear in mind, when we put the actual graphics in, it's all scaled up a lot bigger than this. So a tile here is like 32 by 32, whereas we've got 40 by 40.
Fair point.
I'm just thinking we should get your level stuff over to Ed and see if we can...
Yeah, he's committed. I just need to pull.
Yeah, if we can start testing and developing the mechanic on with the actual assets, then that'll work quite nice.
I had so many issues today with Git.
We did.
So
But
for
we
whatever
fixed them.
reason, my commit only did add, it didn't push any removes.
Wow.
So the scene, the stage scene, absolutely broke because there was just so much duplication and everything there. So I had to go into Notepad++ and manually start modifying it. I basically had the Git version of all the comments, basically all the greens, and I was just looking what extra thing has been added, and I was looking at the code around it, and that's how I was able to spot the duplications. And yeah, after, I don't know, like one and a half an hour in total, I've managed to get it all sorted. The only thing that didn't work was the tile map for tree facade that I've created yesterday. That was gone, so I had to redo it. But
So
yeah,
you managed to rescue a lot of it. That's
Yeah.
good. It just still lost bits, which sucks.
yeah, but it only took about 5 minutes to get that back. Another 5 minutes to add it to the actual design, and then I quickly created the new platforms with the right backgrounds. And yeah, I'm doing the static platforms right now.
Sounds good.
I think there are a number of animations I need to work on. So I've already got idle and walking, that's great. We need to have jumping and kind of like a punch slash grapple. And I think, I'm trying to remember if there was another one that we needed. We still haven't sorted out the audios. The audio is still on my file. We tried to push it to Git yesterday so Lewis could start working on it, but unfortunately the file was over 100 megs. I think it was like 168, so Git just straight up rejected it. The other stuff we need to do at the moment, I think we've got audio to do. We've basically just got one big project file from Audacity that we need to edit.
And I think the flower is going to take longer than you think it is. If you won't mind my honest opinion.
The question is whether we can get everything done by 5 PM today, which is just around the corner.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to pull it off.
But we're gonna give our best and get as much done as we can. I mean, it's already been such an amazing learning opportunity to learn so many new things. I've never did game designing, well, level designing before. Right now I'm actually stealing a bit of Lewis's thunder by modifying his game art for the platforms. And yeah, it's just coding in the engine itself, I mean, the most crucial thing. So yeah, regardless whether we complete the target or not, it's still fun.
First rendition of the jump animation is a bit poor.
Sorry, what?
Go, let's put it on the screen.
Oh no. Oh
It's
no.
flying!
Oh no.
It should stick on that last frame for a while, but yeah, you get the idea.
Got some news. Static platforms are sorted. So now
Yes.
moving platforms.
That's awesome. That's looking cool.
The character's in the wrong position, of course, but
If we could see...
you can get that.
This is really hard.
It's all doable.
Oh man!
That's basically what I was saying earlier. The game is doable,
Well,
but it's actually quite hard.
when I get the character in, the character's going to be taller than... The character's for about 40 pixels high. So we're going to have to just tweak all of these platforms. Like if I do...
That's gonna be enormous amount of work.
Well, we can just move them up and down.
It's not only there, that's the thing, it's gonna be, there are a lot of places like this.
Yeah.
Unless we shrink the Dryad.
Maybe it might look a bit odd if we do. So if I just do this right. Oh, maybe it's not that. That's the Dryad. It's the player scene, I think. The Dryad stands about that too. Maybe it's not that different. But
You won't be able to fit that anymore.
yeah. And we're just gonna have to move things up by about 20 pixels or something. Adjust the jump a little bit as well. How's that? We could try and shrink the player down. It might look a bit weird. Does that look weird?
No. Although if you change the X to 1 and keep Y at 0.75.
You like that?
I actually do.
I hate that.
Really? I'm just used to a chubby sprite, that's why I see more of an appeal of that one.
Yeah, I suppose because we got the robot.
Actually, which one do you think? So
About what?
the Dryad, so this is...
So we've got the Dryad here. So the problem is the Dryad's a bit too tall for the level. So we were saying we can shrink it down to be like that, which is just 0.75 the scale. But Michael was interested in having it look like that. It's just a bit stretched.
I'm not entirely sure I'm a fan of the stretch. I mean,
Okay.
I get you like them thick, but
0.7 by 0.75 it is then.
This isn't working, but it's fine.
I just got this image of a dog in a house on fire. It's fine.
This is fine.
This is fine.
Alright. So, the bounds now match the end of the flower. But the stem. Nice.
I think that possibly either the collider or the graphic has its origin in the center, whereas the other one has it at the top.
Yeah. I'm taking a guess here, I'll admit. You might need to make that negative or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's good. There was something where you've added 20 to the position.
Yeah, that's just a sort of fiddle
Okay.
factor.
Also, something just occurred to me. We don't actually have an actual endgame screen or anything.
Don't even have a title.
Nope.
I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live each second like my final day. You can't take that away. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Do it no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad.
Slight problem. There is a collision between the player and the boulder.
I think I'm just doing crap here.
Oh, you're probably doing better than me.
The flower power broke.
Oh dear. What does it do?
Throws an error.
It doesn't seem to happen with the ones that, if you manually place the new one, it'll be fine. But it's the one, what I'm finding is if I go to the shrine and then go back, I get the error. But otherwise, I'm just wondering if the ones that are placed in the world have got all the updates to them. I'm going to see if it happens on this machine as well.
You understand it?
Right, Ed, what changes were you doing here?
I was seeing why the rope looked a bit dodgy.
Because I think this is going to be the last commit now anyway.
Yeah. Bit bulky boy.
Oh, the cameras are messed up.
It's all on you now, buddy. All on you.
Okay.
Get the latest, build it on your laptop, see how it runs. Then we can submit it. We'll figure out your camera in a second.
I'm annoyed about that webcam. Because it's just
Is it died? Or
your hand.
something? Yeah. Every now and again.
I mean, I can always rotate the camera a bit.
Well, it'll be fine. Okay.
Oh, I can't go back in time and rotate the camera.
What is going on with the website here? It's paused.
It looks like it's going slow enough that the CSS can't load.
We have 3 minutes.
Not your fault, man. It's just them. Oh well.
Stressful, though, I think I learnt a fair bit, namely about Godot's strengths and limitations and what it needs.
I really did enjoy it, and it's definitely something I would like to do again.
I had a really fun time during this whole weekend. There's the whole game jam element, which was really fun, doing the art, trying to do a bit of coding, trying to bring it all together, sound as well. And I think what we ended up creating, whilst it's not the most functional game, is actually not too bad.
So I think we had a solid idea. We very quickly established what we want from the game. We were sharing the ideas, voting on some of them, to basically find a middle ground, a compromise. And I think because we all had good input on it, I don't think there is anything bad I can say about the idea. Like, some of my ideas are not in the game, but so many others are. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that.
The game itself, yeah, I actually quite like it. It kind of broke at the end, which is annoying, because when we built the EXE, some elements didn't seem to work.
It was, again, very enjoyable to see it come to its fruition. There's few mechanics that I'm not particularly fond of, such as the movement control. It kind of feels like the droid is on ice.
And we had a few mechanics that were really not quite working at that last minute. And I was trying to see what we could do to get them working in those last few minutes.
Interesting, engaging. I've definitely learned quite a lot, but it did have its own faults, mostly just the exhaustion and the stress. Yeah, I think the exhaustion and stress would be the biggest cons.
It's terrible. But we only had, what was it, a lot of 48 hours on it. It's not terrible for something that's had no time spent on it with shoddy tools and words. I can't think.
How do you find making your first 2 games?
2 games, oh yes, indeed. The tutorial, upon which I later expanded, added quite a few additional features, and then this one. Yeah, it feels good. It feels quite satisfying seeing everything you work for just, grow and work. I mean, it's completely different to like web services and API. I mean, they are equally enjoyable and rewarding, but you create an API, you call it the endpoint, you get the result. In here, it's more visual, like there's more, I don't know how to describe it. Yes, more tangible. That'll be a good way to describe it.
Michael really trying game design for the first time, doing Godot for the first time. That was really interesting.
I think your stuff was probably better done than mine, to be entirely honest. Michael admittedly hasn't really done game dev before at all, but he managed to contribute quite well, especially the level design. That seemed to be a strong point.
But now, looking in retrospective on how the project went, I would say we could have planned and agreed on certain things better.
Possibly we had a few communication problems around what mechanics should be or how they should be implemented.
Things such as how certain powers will work. I mean, we got the basics, but we never got into the advanced details.
It felt like if we had just discussed how to implement all our mechanics, then we probably would have had a more cohesive design.
And then it does make you think sort of how much of what seems obvious to you is actually just experience of prior things. And then we could get into a huge philosophical discussion over such matters.
I also think if we discussed between ourselves a bit more, we could have been a bit more flexible on how things go. So when we found out that the rock was actually something you had to jump over, I said, can we change the level? Because actually changing the rock at this point is going to be too much work. And then the response was no, changing the level is too much work. And it was a kind of a lack of flexibility that kind of got me a bit stressed at the end.
A lot of aspects of the game cannot be really completed because the rocks are always on the edge. So you grab to it and then you just fall off the platform. And unfortunately we've realized that a little bit too late in the project, probably with about an hour left until the submission. So unfortunately we had to bite the bullet on that one.
In the end, it looks okay, and if we were to come back to the game, we could absolutely fix all those problems and make quite a cohesive experience. Are we going to go back to the game and do that? I don't think so. But one thing I really enjoyed, and I think my main role, I think the guys would say my main role was probably project management and project lead.
So Lewis was slacking as always. Just kidding. He was leading the team and he was doing quite a good job. He was mostly focusing on the graphics and basically just making sure that we know what we are doing, that we have a plan. So that was extremely helpful.
I kind of just did a concept art like I would do on Pixelmania, just a smallish concept piece, and then I just kept adding and adding to basically get all the assets we needed for the game, and eventually creating the main character. And that kind of gave it a coherent aesthetic, which I really liked.
He also did a bit of music work with Alex when he came to visit us.
So I got all the sound that Alex recorded yesterday, edited it down, and I think it sounded okay in the end. I found some music and ambient sounds from opengameart.org, which really gave some atmosphere to the game. I think it really made it feel a lot better to play.
And then towards the end, he was assisting Ed with some of the changes to the engine.
So Michael primarily focused on trying Godot, planning out the level, and actually designing the level. And I think that came out really nicely. I think the level was really cool, really great idea for a Metroidvania. It's definitely something I wouldn't have put that much effort into.
I was designing the levels, implementing the levels in Godot, which this involved getting Lewis's pixel art, converting into tiles, setting the collisions on that, adding the static platforms, moving platforms, and then all the objects that we would interact with.
The level design was really great, quite good for Metroidvania. I don't think I would have been able to put that much thought into it. I think that's quite evident from about a year and a half ago when myself and Ed did GMTK Game Jam 2021, and the level design was pretty much the last thing we did. We just threw together 4 levels. Admittedly, the level editor I had in that game engine was significantly worse than Godot's, but there was pretty much no planning. It was just, oh, we got these mechanics to see if we can make a small bit for each mechanic.
Once I've converted all the pixel art into tiles, actually building the level in Godot, that was extremely fun. It had its challenges, although some of them could potentially come from me not knowing everything can do in Godot. Like, I would not be surprised if there were some functions or shortcuts that would make my life easy if I knew them.
Ed was in charge of coding and the mechanics.
I wrote code that didn't work. That feels like 80% of what I did.
Ed, a typical programmer, just got himself into the engine and just spent his entire weekend there.
From a technical standpoint, I think it was just the project was a bit of a disaster. It's not that I dislike the basic idea. I was thinking purely technical standpoint.
So what is the problem with the technical things that we did?
I didn't know what I was doing.
Why didn't you know what you did? Or
Because I never used Godot before.
what could you do to...
Have you used Godot before?
I tried a bit of coding with Eda, but I don't think my input was that great.
There was that point where we did some pair programming, and it did feel like he was just letting me do a lot of it.
It didn't go too bad, but it could have gone better.
I think that's just because I was somewhat familiar with what was going on. He wasn't.
I think the biggest challenge is that Ed gets stressed out very easily. So even a slight suggestion or something can cause him a great amount of stress, which is not really that great. So there was a bit of a barrier.
And what were your thoughts on Godot?
It definitely has potential, but it needs work. It needs improvements in some areas, and I need to learn how best to use it.
Godot itself, I did a little bit of coding, a little bit of playing around with levels and putting together objects, but to be honest, Ed and Michael did the majority of that.
I need to figure out how the hell to use C++ with it, and how to optimally use it. Optimally, I don't know how to say that word. How to use it better.
How did I find Godot? I would say it's not a bad engine. Like, it's fairly intuitive with certain things. It's not complicated to use.
It's dynamically typed. I'm very used to statically typed. I'm not used to sort of typing a little bit, spinning it up, seeing what happens, just poking around. I like to write something that I know at compile time will work. So a lot of the time with Godot, I found that I was sort of typing something that, I thought should work, but I didn't know. And that threw me a lot of times, like stuff that just functions that didn't exist.
The build process was a lot harder this time than when I last used Godot. I don't know whether it was harder because it was hosted on a different website, because last time I used Godot I just did it directly onto itch, whereas this time I had to put it on the Global Game Jam website.
There was a lot of documentation. Problem was, it's a load of it was deprecated. So it would tell you you'd find a tutorial or a post on a forum from 2016 or 2018, and it would tell you to do something. You'd try that, and it would turn out that the function you called hadn't existed for years.
However, the thing that gave us the most headache was the integration with Git. I think that if we're gonna use Godot again during the next jam, we will have to either use a different plugin or just use something like Visual Studio to manage the repository and do not use anything repository related through Godot, because we've been just getting conflicts after conflicts.
Git integration was obviously a bit lacking, wasn't it? I think it's probably better to use an external Git tool for that instead of Godot's Git integration, which felt more like it was designed for personal projects, pushing and pulling from your own repo without really needing to worry about merge conflicts, except that one time your mate pulled and pushed a couple days ago.
I don't know whether it was just because we chose the basic Git integration with Godot, or whether it was something deeper with how Godot works with Git. I think the main problem was the fact that the scenes were clashing, and when a scene clashed, it just seemed to be hugely problematic for Git.
But the fact that you can push empty check-in, this doesn't really make sense. You can push nothing. You can commit nothing. You get errors about potential conflicts, but it doesn't give you any options to resolve them. It was just a massive mess.
It very much felt like the merge behavior was an afterthought with it.
I think I wasted about 4 or 5 hours during this weekend just on resolving conflicts manually in Notepad++, trying to figure out why certain things are not working. There was an instance where I pushed my changes, but only additions were pushed, so nothing that I've deleted or removed has been pushed. So we ended up with a lot of, for instance, duplicated properties, which prevented scenes from loading.
I think possibly we could have fixed that by working on separate scenes and then combining it all together at the end. Or maybe there's other ways people do that. We didn't really look too much into how people use Godot and Git. But I certainly think that Git was an enemy this weekend.
As fun as it was, I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm absolutely knackered.
I think I'm quite tired, to be honest. This weekend really took it out on me.
In which case, going to sleep mode.
The fact that I'm still awake and talking, it's a miracle.
And what are you going to do after this game jam?
A bath. I'm going to go and have a bath and I will sleep.
I think I just need to shower and sleep and maybe have some food.
I just want to go home, have a shower, and sleep.
I think that we've all had enough. Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.